Hello, Leo, and welcome to your November 1st through 15th tarot card reading. So thank you for hanging in there with me. I know we're a couple days into November. So let's go ahead and get started. This is for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And I have already meditated on your sign and chosen drew some animal cards. And I'll start by reading those from the book, and then I'll give you my intuitive 2 cents. And these animal cards are just an overarching thematic energy to keep in mind as we move through these next few weeks and also as we look at the rest of the spread. So, without further ado, we have the hummingbird and the camel. So beautiful, such beautiful energy. And resourcefulness is a huge element to this camel card. But it's coming up, and it's coming up particularly strong for you guys, this sense of resourcefulness and finding those gems within, finding that resource within as well. So let's go ahead and start with reading from the book. There we go. Hummingbird. Beautiful. Okay. Hummingbird. Positive, enthusiastic, spiritually resourceful. Spiritually resourceful. Inside the tiny hummingbird resides an endless well of energy and positivity. The hummingbird's secret is that they have learned where to gather nectar, and they return to these sources daily for nourishment and rejuvenation. This sacred elixir springs from many sources, but usually involves nature, creativity, and exploring your spirituality. Follow the way of the hummingbird, and you cannot go wrong. Every droplet of life becomes sweet, every moment worth savoring. When in balance, smart, curious, loves to learn. When out of balance, pushy, insistent, sharp, and to bring into balance, take a class. Stunning, stunning energy. Ooh, so we're like learning a lot over these next few weeks. This is about sort of your process of absorption and how you sort of absorb what you learn, and also going to those sources, going to those spirituality is coming up very strong, and this fulfilling exploration of your spirituality and your beliefs. And there is this sense of like knowing where you need to go to get what will really serve you, what will really help you to thrive. And so it's knowing where to go and also doing that. So okay, let me just go ahead and read camel. Camel. Resourceful, independent, knows oneself. The camel can handle absolutely anything, as it carries a wealth of nourishment within. This wondrous creature is self-reliant and handles challenge with ease. Even in the face of excess heat, judgment, or anger, the camel searches inside with a cool elixir of water to calm the situation. The camel represents the ultimate form of bringing opposites into balance, fire and water, and being responsible for one's own reactions. The camel is a wonderful traveler and is especially fond of trips to faraway lands. When in balance, calm, content, sparkle in the eye. When out of balance, dehydrated, lacks vitality. To bring into balance, a pilgrimage. So beautiful. Yeah, so this sense of resourcefulness and also spiritual journeying is coming up quite strong. This spiritual journeying as a way to fulfill yourself, as a way to map out your steps forward. So there is this deepening of your spiritual practice, I feel, for many of you, as a means to understand yourself and yourself in relation to the world, and also in relation to your work. And this is about this time. It's when I was meditating, I heard that there's just something about the hustle. So it's sort of this sense that you want to see it happening. You want to see it happening yesterday. You want to make it happen. and you are, but it's partially, it's sort of this, what's coming up with the hustle, this excitement around the activity of just going for it, which is beautiful, It's just particularly over these next couple of weeks, I feel like be mindful of not always just hustling to hustle, not to not necessarily just chase the hustle. It's it's about it's about sort of, now we're sort of like looking within a bit more, and it's about going to those tried and true sources, those really healthy sources and resources that prime you to be your best, to show up most vitalized. And so there is this sense of nourishment is coming up strong with these two cards. And it's a shared theme with these two cards, a sense of nourishment and finding that nourishment, and where does that nourishment lie, and what nourishment is can you provide for yourself, and seeking out nourishment. So there's just sort of finding this sense of nourishment, this nourishing yourself in a multitude of ways. And it's the hummingbird again is saying, you know, and so is the camel, you know what will really, really serve you. You know what will really nourish you. Go there. Okay, so let's keep those in mind as we move through the rest of the spread. And I'm going to pull this down so you can see what I'm seeing. So this is, so here we go. This is your focal point of the reading. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. The Two of Wands, and then crossed by the Mother of Wands. Lovely. And then in the recent past, we have the Fool, new beginning. And then anchoring the spread, we have the Five of Cups. Okay. And then Mother of Wands from the Fool carrying us in here, we have the Son of Pentacles. And then crowning the spread, we have the Four of Swords reversed. Okay. And then in your general energy representing you, oh my goodness, beautiful, the Magician. Yeah, so you're really gathering all your tools, and you're using all your tools, it feels like. So in your environment, we have the Tower reversed, beautiful. And then we have in Hopes and Fears, we have the Two of Pentacles. Oh, so can you handle it all? How can you balance it all? What's that balancing point? And then we have, carrying us into mid-November, we have the Seven of Wands, the Six of Swords reversed, and the Five of Wands. And then I am for this set of readings, I have decided to choose a card from Colette Baron Reid's The Good Tarot because it's so beautiful. And we have the King of Water. Beautiful, which is in the traditional tarot, the King of Cups. Okay. So here we go. Our focal point. So this is full steam ahead, I just heard. Full steam ahead. So there's this vision, it feels like it is on the move. It is manifesting, and you're moving with your vision. It is on the tracks and rolling quickly. So there's this picking up of momentum. There's this picking up of speed, and then this really distinguished focus that you have in this endeavor. And it's interesting because as I said that, it's almost as though some of you may feel your focus is wavering, is sometimes there and is sometimes not there. But action-wise, which is what the wands represent, this action forward, your action is all on point. Your action is incredibly focused. And then crossed by the Mother of Wands. So we're looking at this time for some of you perhaps of nurture, of self-nurture. And that's partially been a theme as well for a couple of the readings. But so there is this sort of nurturing yourself, and maybe the message to not chase that hustle is to sort of to slow you down a little bit, to remind you to care for yourself in the ways that you need to in order to build this legacy that you're building. So self-care, and replenishing those resources that come from within. So that's why spirituality perhaps is coming up really strong. It's what will really buoy that sort of internal well of resources, of emotional resources, of stability. So it's really sort of filling yourself up in those ways, in the ways that really are very nurturing and fill up your cup. So it's like inspiration and, you know, where your curiosity lies, and sort of using that as to sort of lead you to these places that, and these things to explore, or people or whatever, that really fill you up. And I feel like a lot of this has to do, you know, for the majority, less with relationship perhaps, and more so with nurturing that relationship with yourself. So reading a great book that really inspires you, exploring a topic that you've been curious about for a long time, you know, going to a beautiful church that you have been wanting to try, going out into nature, working with your hands, whatever that means for you. It's just it's a good time for that. It's a necessary time for that. So anchoring the spread, we have the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups, there is this disappointment, this head hanging low. And, you know, when we have in the recent past, the Fool, it's this whole new journey that the Fool is stepping into. So it's like you've recently stepped into this whole new journey. And prior to that, and what informed that step was this phase of disappointment, this phase of deflation and feeling disempowered and feeling uninspired. So there is this like first steps forward here, this like, you know, now it's stepping into this new journey, and we're on it. It's you're in it. You're in it. You've now started. You're at we have number 2, the beginning of this new journey. And there is this marrying, I feel, of both what will bring you fulfillment and with your actions, like what will bring you fulfillment, whatever this endeavor is. I feel strongly that it's what will bring you fulfillment and inspire you, but also something like a foothold, something that you have hopes to really build your future on in many ways. And not completely, but it's just like it's one of those bricks that you're conscious of I'm placing this brick in order to build my future. And like one, you know, it's a stepping stone heading toward a sense of creative and work-wise sort of longevity, where you put the majority of your time and energy. It's sort of wanting to build something that is sustainable and will support you into the future. So legacy is coming up strong. And then this is carrying us into the Sun of Pentacles. And I feel for some of you, we're looking at perhaps a child or a partner of some kind, or a friend, a slightly perhaps younger, slower moving energy. And also speaking to the creative endeavor and your creativity, it's almost as though you're accepting that this is, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, that it's one step at a time. It's one step at a time. And there's this deep acceptance of that, this sort of, you know, and over these few weeks, you're going to be continued to ask to remind yourself that it's just one foot in front of the other, and how anything gets completed, it's really one foot in front of the other. It's one step at a time. It's one brick at a time. So this steady progression. And this is overhead. This is crowning the spread. And I feel like it's so in the headspace, and sort of we're looking at, doubts. And so be conscious of those thoughts that, thoughts from the peanut gallery that you may want to pay less mind to. You may sort of want to be like, oh, there's that little peanut gallery, chattering off again and telling me things that aren't really in alignment with, they don't motivate me. They don't necessarily empower me. They don't support my movement forward. So I'm just going to sort of let it go in one ear and out the other, and know that they're just thoughts. It's nothing, nothing more than that. They're just thoughts. They don't have to mean much at all. They can mean absolutely nothing. Watch them fly by, and that's that. So, so just sort of, opting to let go of disempowering beliefs, disempowering thoughts, any sort of things that come in. If you have people in your environment that perhaps are not as supportive, and you're hearing this, chatter that you don't find to really be quite helpful, let it go. Let it go. It doesn't have to mean anything at all. It's just really about keeping your eye on the prize, keeping your sort of, I just heard keeping your foot in the water. So it's continuing with those steps forward. And this project is building, this progress is building. And the Magician, so yeah, it's almost like the feeling I'm getting is that you're working with all of these different tools, and it's almost you've acquired these different tools, these different skill sets, and like the hummingbird, you're sort of dipping in all of these different, the image I'm getting is little pools of ink. So this color is almost like watercoloring, and you have this color to work with, and you have this color to work with, and you have this tool to work with, and you have pick up this wand, and I'll pick up this sword, and I'll use a little bit of this pentacle. So it's like sort of all of these different tools, these different resources, and utilizing. So part of this resourcefulness that we're looking at from the camel is it's sort of using all different kinds of resources. It's really sort of asking you this time to tap into all of these different, very varying skill sets that you have acquired over this, this past, over the past years, month, whatever it is, all of it. So it's just sort of looking at it all and saying, how can I be more resourceful, and what tool do I want to pick up and use in this particular moment in time? And I just heard it can be a juggling act for some of you. So you could be throwing around a couple different tools at the same time, and it's all good. Do it. So in your environment, and this is an empowering thing, and it's building muscle, and it's a strength training exercise of it. So multitasking, I feel, is going to start to, it's really serving this purpose in many ways of mindful multitasking, of building your sense of capability. It's true, like, and I feel like I'm looking at neural pathways, like building neural pathways, building this strength training, creating this, the word is versatility. Okay, so in your environment, the tower reversed. So it's almost like as if something has shaken everything up in the recent past, and you're through that. And now it's like the pieces are settling. They're beginning to settle into place, and, and sort of puzzle their way together. So puzzle piece their way together. So it's almost like the plates have shifted around, and now they're resettling. So there is this, but it's new. So it's almost like when you break a bone or something. It's a little bit of an aggressive example, but if you break a bone and then it's reset. So things are being reset into place, and it's a little tender. Your environment, it's still new, it feels like. So things are still they're still settling in a little bit. And allow for that. That's beautiful. There's been some adjusting, and now things are just beginning, it's been reset and, set just so. And, and now it's kind of like letting it bake a bit is the image I'm getting. So there's a carefulness, perhaps that, you're approaching your environment. It's new. It's it's just sort of settling in. But it is also, it's baking. It's baking. So it's setting. And then in your hopes and fears, so at balance, I feel like, again, we're looking at capability and like, all right, how do I handle it all? What is the balance? What is that balancing point here with all this stuff that I have going on, with where I'm looking to go? How to. So and how do you sort of maintain this core stability as more variables come into your experience? And this is an exploration. This is something for you to explore, something for you to be curious about. It's going to be an ebb and a flow. There's another sign that this feels very similar to, and I feel like it might have been this ebb and flow, maybe a little bit of Libra, not sure, but so there is this sort of this exploring your capacities and exploring and sort of pushing those limits a little bit, and it's sort of exploring the capability of something you've created or of yourself, by a little bit of trial and error is what I'm hearing, a little bit of trial and error. And be okay with that. That's totally great. Totally great. And it just allow for that ebb and flow. So, it kind of works, it doesn't work, it kind of works, so it's like a little bit of that. Sort of approach it from more of like this is an interesting game. Kind of a little bit of it can be a little bit playful and curious and sort of looking at, and exploring where I am and these feelings I have around my core stability and my sense of balance and how to handle everything in this juggling act. So in mid-November here, we have the 7 of Wands. So this feels like there could be this feeling that a lot is on your shoulders, that sort of it's like you are a lot is sort of on your plate. And there's something front and center about this. So there's this, I feel like spotlights on you in some way or form in mid-November. And like eyes are on you. And the wands, we're sort of looking at creative endeavor or something that you're passionate about. So there, I do feel for some of you, I'm looking at, being sort of in the spotlight to a degree. And then for others of you, I feel like the message is to delegate a bit, to even though you are responsible for the majority of what needs to happen, you can delegate and get the support that you need. So I feel like this is sort of saying you can reach support. You can ask for some support as if things start to feel heavy and you're like, oh, I bit off a little more than I can chew here. Ask for support. Ask for support. And the 6 of Swords reversed. There's something here about letting yourself hold steady in one place for a bit. So again, maybe we're looking at this hustle, sort of this and this constant need to be seeing real progress, to be, I just heard making way and making waves. So to be constantly sort of progressing forward. And this is sort of saying, you can let yourself be a little bit. You you can let yourself stay in one place to a degree. And sort of, I feel like it's almost about, it's this image of like a plateau, like letting yourself plateau a bit. And I feel strongly that this Five of Wands is conversation. So middle of the month, I'm looking at a lot of conversations sort of around, I just heard scheduling and troubleshooting and making waves again. So there's these conversations around movement forward and more how to. So I feel like this is a supportive group as well. So there's this community energy that's coming up here with this asking for support and, letting yourself sort of marinate in one place to a degree. And it's almost, I want to say marinate with like a certain group. So it's like kind of, staying with a group, staying in one place. And then the King of Water, I'm going to go ahead and read this from the book. The King of Water, so we have the King of Cups, and it's this beautiful, it's this like creativity, this man who, this archetype who has, man, woman, whatever, has really knows how to nurture and cultivate their own creative power. So there's this coming into your sense of creative authority in a whole new way. That's really beautiful. And I just heard an emotional at times. So, water energy is emotional. Let's go ahead and read this. Okay. King of Water. Generous, diplomatic, fair, gentle, a good listener, non-judgmental, peacemaker, mediator. I honor and respect all beings, including myself, and see the commonalities we share and the spirit that is in all of us. I listen to other voices and blend them with my own wisdom before settling on an opinion, making a decision, or taking an action. I gently and lovingly lead others away from fear and divisiveness and into harmonious collaboration. So yes, whatever this group is, whatever this dynamic is, I feel like, and you could have to in some way or form around mid-November or so, show up as kind of a mediator, as sort of that, show up as that balancing point. Sort of this, you're helping kind of in a diplomatic way, bring these pieces together. That's so beautiful. So it's almost like sort of like, being the heartbeat of whatever this collaboration is. It's the glue. So there is this sense of being a supportive and diplomatic member of your community, of whatever this group is, and helping sort of mediate and help fit those pieces together. So that's so beautiful. I hope that this was helpful. Check out your rising and your moon sign so you can get a more holistic reading for yourself. And I will be back with you in a couple of weeks with your mid-November readings. Please like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it so much. It means so much to me. And I love you with all my heart. Have a beautiful couple of weeks.